Hey there, I'm Edwin, and in the studio today we have Itel's first ever gaming phone. I know what you're thinking, but let's go over some housekeeping first. This is a gaming phone coming from a company that has made a name for itself for producing super affordable smartphones. And the RS4 is no exception, it's sub $200. An interesting thing about gaming phones is that some of the features required for gaming are really good features to have on a phone. For example, the MediaTek Helio G99 Ultimate CPU, a very decent chipset for this phone. A smooth 120Hz refresh rate display backed up by a more sensitive touchscreen than regular Itel's, making it feel more responsive. The base hardware level RAM is 8GB, which goes up to 12GB, and with memory fusion that can go as high as 24 gigs. Might be a small thing, but they added a good vibration motor compared to the rest of Itel's lineup. A linear Z-axis motor whose vibrations are tight, precise, and in some instances like typing, they give a better typing experience that feels like you are pressing physical buttons. Speaking of pressing buttons, there is a like and a subscribe button at the bottom of this video. You can use those to test your own vibration motors. It also has stereo speakers that provide better immersion when watching videos or listening to music. My take on these is that they are quieter than I expected and are lacking that low-end bass. Wi-Fi and mobile data connections are more stable on the RS4 than on other Itel devices. They included a 360-degree antenna on the RS4 to provide as much network stability as possible for online gaming. But this also means that for everyday usage, this Itel will still have some network connection when other devices are struggling, which in some places can mean the difference between calling in the comfort of your bed versus climbing up a tree or an anthill. The only feature that is negatively affected by a phone getting geared for gaming is the battery life, since it's got all these features geared for performance. In our endurance test, the Itel RS4 lost 36% of juice after a 3-hour endurance run. It's not bad and should give you close to 2 days of regular use. When gaming is involved, however, you can expect that endurance to drop a little. Speaking of endurance, Itel added a charging feature for power pass-through, and it's very interesting in how it works. So, batteries love operating at about room temperature. If they get too hot or too cold, they won't provide good performance. On a gaming phone, the biggest issue you'll get is heat, and there are two main sources of this heat: the processor and the charging system. The processor uses a lot of power to provide the best performance it can for gaming. Whilst it is doing this, it is also pulling a lot of power from the battery, which raises the temperature of the battery. And then you connect the phone to the charger, and now the power being fed into the battery is further increasing the heat of that said battery. And we all know electronic devices hate heat, so what does Itel do? They added a battery bypass feature for gaming. If you are playing games with the phone plugged into the charger, the phone effectively disconnects the battery once it's full and uses power directly from the charger. This massively reduces the temperature, since the heating of the battery has been reduced, and also it extends the useful life of the battery over time because it's being strained less. Oh, and you can charge it at a very brisk 45 watts with a fast charger that comes included in the box. Nice! So, what about cameras? It's rocking a 50 megapixel rear camera with a bright dual LED flash on the back and an 8 megapixel selfie camera. The photos that this camera takes in good lighting are actually pretty decent. The HDR does a good job without overexposing stuff. Colors are nice and vibrant. It does have AI built in, basically scene recognition, where it can look at whatever it is that you're taking a photo of and adjust the color profile, making the blues bluer, the greens greener, and just produce a more pleasing image overall. Also, thanks to the beefy chipset, you have some extra modes that you would normally not get on other Itel devices. For example, this RS4 can film up to 1440p or 2K video, as well as 1080p at 60 frames per second. A first for Itel, if I'm not mistaken. This just means it can take smoother video at 1080p, or if you want a sharper looking video that looks great on a big screen, you can film at a 2K resolution. From what I have experienced so far, it's a really capable device when it comes to filming video, especially considering its price point. Again, we're going to have to remember that this is a budget phone, not a bona fide gaming phone. Overall, the video quality is pretty decent. There is good exposure. I think Itel has done a good job when it comes to HDR and exposure in videos. The dark parts are no longer too underexposed, and the highlights are well managed as well. Everything is balanced, even in some shots that I took with the sun in the background. When you're filming in 1080p 60, the autofocus becomes just a little bit sluggish, so something you need to compensate for when you're filming in this mode. The other thing is, it also comes with an ultra steady mode, which removes shake when you're filming video. However, to achieve this mode, the phone will crop into the center of the camera's frame so that it can compensate for any shake that you have in your hand, with an extra bit of canvas in the back. But the problem with that is it reduces the sharpness of the video, and it also affects the frame rate to some extent on this phone. So it is a feature that you will need to first test out and see if it works out for you before you begin using it. Alright, so the main event, what this phone is actually about: gaming. This phone has a powerful processor for its class, making it very good for gaming. And it's also got a couple of software features built in for enhancing that gaming experience. Whenever it detects that you are running a game, especially one of the more popular ones like PUBG, it will launch in the background the iBoost app, an app that conditions your phone in a certain way for you to be able to have a more focused and more direct gaming experience. What you get is options to hide notifications or even the option to boost footstep sounds, which is wild for PUBG. Optimizing game graphics, which removes screen shake, I'm not too sure what that is, and even enhancing the graphic style. It also shows you stuff like your battery percentage, your network signal strength, and if your phone is overheating. In terms of gaming performance, looking at the graphics of the phone, Itel made an interesting decision. They put a lower resolution screen on this phone and then bumped up the frame rate because, well, frames win games. So even though games might not look really sharp, this phone does have consistency on its side. I was running two games here: CSR Racing, which is basically a simple 3D drag racing game, as well as PUBG, a more open world, more hardware intensive game. The performance was smooth, there was no lag, there was no stutter. I didn't even get the overheating issues whilst I was playing either of these games. Probably a part of this is the fact that it's winter this side right now as I'm filming, and it's biting cold, so not enough ambient heat to motivate the temperatures on this phone to rise to uncomfortable levels. But if you do face some overheating issues, Itel made a hectic package for that. There is an active cooling fan that attaches to the back of the phone, and it needs its own power supply for it to run. But when it's running, it offers some additional cooling to the phone, perfect for those marathon type gaming sessions. Good haptics are also a big part of the gaming experience, and Itel understood the assignment. They added a lovely Z-axis vibration motor to the RS4, coupling this to the improved touch response sensitivity, and you really get the total package. The interesting part about all this is that these features also work for regular day-to-day use, meaning the user experience on the RS4 is going to be the best of any Itel device. Right, so let's run it down. The display is a bit low res, but the high refresh rate and enhanced touch sensitivity make up for it. Much improved image processing for both photos and videos, especially in good lighting, and the added creative video modes are amazing if you ignore the focus hunting at 1080p 60. Also, it also has stereo speakers which lack some bass, but outside of that they're pretty decent. And we surely can't forget the design. It's a leather-like feel on the back with a nice golden stripe running in the middle and one very big camera sensor housing, but it's all done really well. A big connectivity boost with 360-degree antennas, and for my folks in Zim, this will also support Liquid Home and Tel 1 LTE lines. Also, in the world of smartphone boxes going on a diet, Itel threw out the salad and went for the Bri Pack. This is a massive box. That's the special edition box with extras like the cooling fan, the Itel Buds Fire, video on those dropping real soon, and the regular box with the RS4 and all its usual accessories. Only 1,000 of these special edition boxes were allocated to Zimbabwe, so good luck getting your hands on one. It's a great package, no doubt. However, there is a little bit of an issue when it comes to the price point. It's really close to that $200 mark, which is very high for Itel's typical customer base. I need your thoughts on something actually. Itel didn't bring us a follow-up to the S23 Plus, the whole premium AMOLED Full HD Plus treatment. Instead of getting that, we got the gaming-focused RS4. If you could pick, would you go for the more premium S23 Plus or the more performance and gaming focused RS4? Stew on that for a little bit, and I will catch you next time.